Good morning. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Lorenzo Generations. Hope you enjoyed our last video and it was helpful. Hope you learned one or two things there. Like I always say, don't hesitate to always call our attention to any place that you feel we need to explain more, we need to teach, we need to share our knowledge that we got freely. In our last video, we spoke at length about payment classification number, how it is related to aircraft classification number in your flight planning preparations. The prerequisite, the things you need to check before taking your airplane into certain airfields. You need to check whether they meet the classification stipulated in the aircraft flight manual by the manufacturer of that aircraft. You need to also check if the airfield is strong enough to take your kind of aircraft. Okay, today we are going to be talking about something slightly different, but still related to flight operation and flight planning preparation processes. If you want to plan a flight from point A to point B, there are certain things you need to know. Apart from you checking the performance limitations, apart from you checking the fuel availability in your destination, apart from you checking fuel availability in your destination, you need to also check regional requirements. There are certain regulatory requirements one needs to know before planning a flight into certain areas. Apart from the performance side, there are other important information you need to know before planning your flight into a particular airfield. Let's take South America as a case study. You want to plan a flight into any South American countries. Are you talking of Venezuela, that's Caracas? Are you talking of Colombia? Are you talking of Brazil? Are you talking of Costa Rica? Any of the South American countries, you need to check certain regulatory requirements. You need to check if, for instance, one of the regulatory requirements is CAA requirement. Your CAA as well as the CAA of the country you're flying into. If your CAA allows you to fly into those countries based on your equipment, based on what is installed in your aircraft, what is called operational specification. Apart from that, you need to check what is called regional requirements. Each region have a requirement. If you're flying into Europe and you don't have performance-based navigation, PBN, it might be very difficult for you to fly in that airspace because the clearance limits, the equipment limits, what is used there is not like here in Africa that you talk from one tower to another tower, the ground hand you over to the apron control, hand you over to approach, hand you over to area control, and you are guided from your departure to your destination. It is not like that in some certain cities, in some certain regions like Europe, where you rely strictly on your instrument to fly from point A to point B. Yes, they are monitoring you, they are looking at you, but they expect that with the equipment you have installed and equipped in your aircraft, you need to know how to navigate from point A to point B. Additionally, there are certain equipment you need to have on board, equipped and serviceable and in good operating condition before you can fly to certain places. Flying from Africa to South America, of course, you're going to overfly ocean for approximately 2 to 3, 4 hours. That means you need ETOPS, what we used to call EDTO. You need ETOPS because you cannot fly from one airport and there's no other airport that is at least 60 minutes away from the airport that you are in. You cannot do that unless you have what is called EDTO or ETOPS in the past. So for you to get all those requirements, for you to do all those type of flights, I beg your pardon, you need to get all these requirements in check. If your aircraft does not have dinghies, for an example, what you need if you are ditching, landing over water, like a little boat, we carry some passengers before rescue arrive. If you don't have it, why will you fly over water? What if you have an engine failure, depressurization, or is a drift down, or you are just to land over water, what are you going to do? Is the aircraft going to be used as dinghies? No. So these equipment requirements, regional requirements, regulatory requirements need to be checked before planning your flight into certain areas. I will give you an example. One of the airlines that is still operating now, I'm not going to mention names, this is just for learning purposes. One of the airlines that is going places now planned a flight before, and the flights they plan to land in an airport without first checking the NOTAMs, without first checking the airport operating hours. If you don't check the airport operating hours, which is one of the things we are going to discuss in our next video, you can plan a flight, take off, fly for hours, and go overhead a particular airport you're planning to land and discover that the airport is closed. So eventually these guys had to land in a nearest suitable airport, which will cost them more money because they need to pay another fee, they need to pay landing, they need to pay handling and all that. So if you don't plan your flight adequately or get enough necessary information you require to plan your flight from point A to point B, apart from the safety and accidents that is bound to happen, you are going to lose money. You are going to lose revenue. Imagine a flight that you plan from point A to point B and eventually landed an alternate, not because of weather, but because you refuse to check all the informations you need to check before you departed from your departure. And at the end of the day, you landed in another place. You waited for the airport to open and then you came back to land. That's more fuel, that's more navigational charges, that's more landing and handling charges. And we are here to make money. So please, in our next video, I'm going to elaborate more on this.